Okay. I wanted to do a little recap on my second data analysis for INtasc Standards 6 and 7. And to just give a little recap and to give a little refresher for my summative and formative assessment. There were several in here, but the students were given a prompt. They had to write a response to the prompt using critical thinking, demonstrating an argument and a conclusion, citing evidence from the text. And then their classmates gave them a letter grade based on, or not a letter grade, but a check plus, check minus based on whether or not they hit these 5 areas. And then I provided them with my feedback after my reading. Those 2 scores were then combined to give them a final score for the summative assessment. The formative assessment being the time and work that they did to assess their fellow students, to talk about argument, to collaborate, to design and really reflect on their own writing from that perspective that they did when reading others' work. So I have a very primitive data analysis, but I have multiple data analysis and without showing names, I have my gradebook, I have, Google Classroom, there's so many things, and I have removed the names, but every student within this spreadsheet, if you look to the site, does have a number. So I have eliminated their names and put in a number from 1 through 147. What this has done is it's allowed me to assign the students a number that was a randomly selected number. And then when I went to grade their papers and when they had their peer assessment, this was a unbiased, completely removed their names, and I was not aware of who wrote the paper, neither were their peers. And one thing I just want to point out on here is, again, also to give you a little bit of background, at the beginning of the school year, we did a very similar assessment when students were provided a prompt, then they were asked to, sorry, I don't know if that was on, they were asked to write a 2-paragraph essay about that prompt, and I gave them an assigned score based on these 5 very similar criteria that they ended up doing this assessment most recently on. So this is a really pretty much comparison apple to apple assessment. And if we look to the side where I've highlighted yellow, the first 13 people. On the left, you'll see their original scores, and on the right, you'll see the scores as they translate currently. And the first one is that one of my IEP students, she received an 80, but she's going to have additional time to revise. I know that score will go up. The next one you see is a 70 or a 7. This student has now received an 88. One went from a 9 to 92. Those are pretty similar scores. But across the board, there was definitely an increase in assessment scores. And what I love about this is not just my assessment, this is their peers and myself. So regardless of what we're seeing, there is more information, and it's not just from my subjective view on it. And so what I'm taking from this is I do think as a whole, the class has started to grasp this idea of critical thinking and critical analysis when it comes to writing from a prompt. I'm going to take the data that I have for those students that did not increase and really kind of dig in and work with them as far as what are we missing? Was it just maybe argument? Was it just conclusion? Was it being able to cite and bring in outside evidence? I think now I'll have to go in and look at those that didn't improve. Where did we have the miss? And how can I improve how I instruct to decide, is there enough data to show us that, yes, we are struggling to find an argument? I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be struggling to cite outside evidence. But once I have a much clearer data of all 147 people and not just 20 here that we're seeing improvement, I think overall I did see improvement. But we're going to need that data to try and really decide for further analysis what we need to work on as a class and what I need to work on as an instructor. One of the things I wanted to show you, sorry, really quick. And this will be a little bit difficult to remove names. But I did want to say, and I'm not going to be able to do it with names, so we're just going to leave it at this. But I did send, after going through this assessment, there were several students who improved immensely. The growth was very big. So I sent personal emails to about 15 students out of the 147 and their parents to discuss how impressed I was with the growth that we've seen from a critical analysis standpoint. So I did send personal emails for that. The other idea with this is that the actual prompt was a culturally interesting idea about a pretendian and how Native Americans view identity and how their identity has been, for lack of a better word, stolen from so many people who love their culture, but also have truly stolen historical and cultural facts. And so we were able to build in this cultural explanation, a tie-in to culture and identity, and also still look at assessment from a very data-driven point. So that is my reflection on this. I will provide this rudimentary data that has the students' names removed, and then we can go from there. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you. Stop. Thank you.